Hello, and welcome to Ebbie on Senior Living. I'm your host, Charles Alfree. Today, I will be expanding on a discussion I had earlier this year about how the arts impact seniors. I am joined today by Eunice Lafete. She is an educator, an award-winning folk artist, and the owner of Lafete Gallery. Welcome, Eunice.
Thank you very much for inviting me on such a subject that I'm very passionate about. The arts.
Yes,
are powerful. Yes.
Yes, they are. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I just wanted to say how excited I am to have you here today. Besides being an amazing artist and amazing citizen of Wilmington, Delaware, you're also a friend of mine, and I just love your work so much. And just welcome to the show. And yes, the arts are powerful. So why don't we get started by you telling the viewers, how did you get into the arts and become an artist?
I was born and raised in the island of Jamaica. And the beauty of nature captured my imagination and my sight at an early age. The trees and the flowers and the birds and all of nature. And I started drawing. I didn't have the luxury of current day art materials, so I utilized what I had, a stick of charcoal or a pencil, and the wall of my house as a canvas, creating works of art. I did at age 7 was when all that talent came alive. And I decided I wanted to be a teacher at that age also. So I grew up to be a teacher, and today I'm an artist and a famous one. I went to Teachers Training College in Kingston, Jamaica, the Micro Teachers College, and go out in practical, or supervisors would warn us, don't let me come and see you talk and talk. You need to have a visual for every lesson. So I took on the talent of creating my own visuals, charts for every lesson. While my colleagues would paste and cut, I would draw, and the talent developed so much so. When I left Teachers College, I had enough skills that I could teach art. I taught art in Jamaica for many, many years. Then I migrated to the United States. I've been here for the last 37 years. And my art followed me. I taught at a Catholic school in the city, and Sister described my classroom as a museum. And then I transitioned into banking, and I continued to use my art skills with my employees, organize their children to create art, and we had contests for them. And it was in the banking industry that my artistic talent bloomed, because I had to adjust now to a new culture, to new situations, to deal with life stories and life treatment. And because I was a foreigner, it didn't make it easy for me either. However, all the challenges that provided, I transferred that to my canvas. So at the end of a stressful day in the bank, I would go home and paint. And my art grew and blossomed. And the Renaissance came in 1992 when I served as a volunteer at the Waller Street YMCA. And later I was asked to produce a cover for Out and About magazine. And I created this beautiful cover about the YMCA. And that was what gave me the catalyst to become famous. And my art, I continued to paint again. It was just for a hobby. And then I retired. And human services was a part of my training. So a lot of my experiences for my art came out of my classroom and working in human services. I worked at Elwyn. Are you guys familiar? Are you familiar with Elwyn? Elwyn Center? Yes, I worked there. And I taught life skills. And my art talent came alive with those seniors and younger people who were in that program. And then I started getting awards all over. And that now made me famous. I received the Governor's Award for the Arts in 2014. A life-changing experience came in 2015 when I lost my dear husband of 21 years to cancer.
Mm.
And when I talk about the value of the arts to seniors, that's where that comes in. So I transitioned from the regular art I used to do, and at his bedside for 4 months, I sat there with my mini canvas and my liquid paint markers and created works of art about caregiving. And the series is titled The Heart of Caregiving, because caregiving is a work of heart. Caregiving, not ART. Caregiving is a work of heart.
Yes.
And that is why I'm so passionate about the arts. So,
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you, when you're at Elwyn and you're working with the seniors, what type of programs did you do with them?
I was
Like
the life skills. I was the life skills instructor.
Okay.
And a part of the life skills, I got them to find their talent, find the artist in them. Actually, there's an interesting story. I'm going to make it short. On a hot June morning, one of my clients came in and I was doing the intake. She held her head down. She said, I don't think I should be alive. I don't know why I'm here. And I started to encourage her. And I showed her a book with some work I'd created and a piece about life has bright side, dark side, peaks and valleys. She perked up. She said, I'm an artist. And I said, I'm an artist too. And she was wearing a heavy coat, winter coat, in June. And I gave her a hanger and she said, no, I'm cold. And then we conversed throughout the week. And by Friday, she was transformed. She even brought her portfolio to share with the class. That's how powerful the arts are.
It really is. And I know I work at the Hickman, which is a senior living community, and we have an artist there who works with our residents. And she's told me, it's not always about the finished product, but it's about the process. And people, they're working on a piece and they're being creative and they're using the creative part of their mind, and it brings up memories from their past, and it makes them forget about life for a little while. And if they do have any aches or pains, they kind of forget about that because they're so focused on, creating this piece of work. So regardless if it's, a masterpiece or not, it's that process that is really being a benefit to them.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's a distinction between the art I do and fine arts. Now, fine arts focus on the vanishing lines, perspective and accuracy. Folk art is art from the heart, and there are no boundaries. There are no lines to follow, no rules. You just create spontaneously. And that's why I love to work with seniors too.
Sure.
And young children and seniors.
And what type of programs are you providing to seniors? I know you do a lot with children and seniors, but any specific that are for seniors?
I'm glad you asked that question. Based on my experience of caregiving, I provide a program called, again, The Heart of Caregiving. And also, I help seniors to cope with losing their loved one. When you care for someone dearly that you love, you lose that person. What are you going to do? And there is a story on Delaware Today did a story. I also have a grief sharing program, and it's titled Rebounding from Grief to Growth. That came out of my own experience of caring for my loved one, losing him, and I picked up the pieces. And that's how this gallery came about in the first place. It is a vision center.
And it really is. I love your gallery. I love your work. I feel like your work speaks to our society about unity and bringing everybody together. And every time I've been to your gallery, it's just been such a welcoming and loving experience. And I think that is so important for both children and seniors. especially when they're not, artists, but they're coming into an environment where they don't have to worry about that they're going to be creating a masterpiece, but rather they're working on pieces and working on, like you're saying, growing.
Yes, yes.
Their
And I'm glad you use the word unity, because the core of my work is about diversity, unity, racial harmony. And the most relevant piece that I've created in 27 years is titled The Melting Pot versus the Salad Bowl, which I'll be sharing a copy of it. And it speaks to moving away from tolerance to accepting people, understanding and respecting and valuing people for what they bring. And we are a nation of a great salad bowl of cultures.
Exactly. And of all ages, too. I mean, that's what makes our country so unique, is that, we need to celebrate all people. And I love that about your work. And you have a painting in your window, your front window, and it has a saying on, I can't remember exactly what it is.
A peaceful city begins with me. Is that the one that's on? Yes.
Yes.
And at this time, how apt is that?
Oh,
and when the children come in to do their classes here, that's what I draw their attention to. Being peaceful. Peace begins in the home.
Sure.
It's the socialization process. The home, the school, the community, and all facets of life, we should be emphasizing peace.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I had a class this Saturday, and I said to the group, "Oh, how do you see peace? What does peace look like to you?" And we went on to say, what does justice look like to you? And I had a piece I'd created called No Justice, with KNOW, peace, and we related to that.
Wow. Well, and that's the other thing. Art creates a dialogue, as you're working on pieces and you're relating to the individuals and such. And like you were saying, it also helps people like you were using art while your husband was in his community and you were there every day visiting him, and it was therapeutic. And do you find that, that many seniors use art as a therapy process?
Oh, yes. I find that so much. And Grandma Moses, have you heard of her?
Yeah.
She was in her 70s when she started. And there's another guy from Alabama, Bill Traylor. He was 80 years old, and he left a few hundred pieces of work.
And he started when he was 80?
80 years old. He worked in a funeral parlor. And at night, he would pick up pieces of cardboard and charcoal and create art. His work is all over the world.
Wow.
At 80 years old, he left 1,600 pieces. And Grandma Moses, I think she left 1,500. And that's where I need to tell seniors, leaving a legacy. You create that work of art, you leave it, it becomes a legacy for the next generation. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm telling people during this pandemic, do something creative, write about it, so that you can leave that message. And I'm big on the visual arts, but I'm also big on writing. I've created works around stories around my work. That's what seniors can do. Journal, do a little journaling, create a piece, write about it, leave that as a heirloom for the family.
Exactly. And also in their journals, write about their childhood and the life that they lived. So their family has that record of, what your loved one went through, but also what life was like in other periods of time. And today we're so focused on using the technology and such. And I think
there you go. Did you know? Oh, sorry.
No.
Studies show that seniors who are involved in creating art are less likely to develop Alzheimer's. The studies have documented that. Seniors who are involved in creating not just visual art, music, or any form of art, even drawing, coloring, doing puzzles. That keeps that mind active. You have to feed that mind.
Sure, sure. Using that creative mind because you're using it and it's expanding. You're learning. You're still learning. And that's the thing. Even, my father, I think he was in his probably late 60s, turning 70, he turned to art. And he was never an artist, never done anything in the arts. And he started taking art classes. And he loved it and he excelled and he has created some beautiful pieces. And he did oils and then he went into carving and he started carving wood carving birds. I mean, and his work.
I would love to see some of his work.
Oh, okay. I'll share some pictures of his work with you the next time I'm in. Yeah, wonderful. Exactly. But for like you, and I've read about artists and they evolve as they grow older because of life experiences. And I mean, and I know right now we're going through a lot right now. And your work has always, as we were talking earlier, has always really made a statement on the current time and especially around justice and unity and peace and bringing people together. And yeah.
A series I created since the pandemic is titled The Art of Coping. And it goes with a slogan, don't mope, find creative ways to cope.
I love that.
Yes. So you wake up every day, don't mope. Think of a vision of a way of doing something creative.
And I love that. And I love the positivity that you bring to the community and you feel it through your work. And I'm going to show this real quickly. This is one of the pieces I have of yours that I love.
Wow.
I wake up every morning and that's the first thing I see because it's on the wall directly opposite of my bed. And it just starts my day with a smile on my face. I feel positive. I feel good. I feel like I'm ready to get up and face the world. And I love that about your work. And I wanted to hear about the evolution of your work. I know you talked about when you started out, it was, using the walls in your house and such, but how has your work evolved over the years?
Okay. Well, I moved to the United States in the winter. Mm-hmm. And I had a culture shock. I didn't even know it could be sunny and cold. The first day I arrived and it was beautiful sunshine. I was ready to dress Jamaican style. Sure. So that winter, I came in December 1983, the 50th, was brutal. I've never experienced winter before. I was not psychologically prepared. I used my art to cope. And during those days, I created all about tropical sceneries and my culture to share. And then that was the important part of the work, sharing my culture. But as I advanced, I moved into corporate. Now I took on issues of race, issues of equality, issues of diversity. And as I worked in the community, issues around children. And it kept evolving. So much, I have 15 different themes of work. And the most recent and passionate is the one about caregiving.
Yes, which is so important. And the other side of that, when you are a caregiver, you also need to have something to help relieve your stress. And I would imagine you used art as a way to cope with what you were going through at that time.
At the time and after. Yes, because my siblings had come after my late husband passed. They packed me up virtually, wanted me to move to New York. And I said, let me pray about it. And I got the vision to open this gallery. So that's why I call it Lafete Gallery Vision Center. It is more than a gallery. The vision comes alive every day, something new, and is working with the community and is using art as a cause, giving back to the community.
Sure.
And giving back to the community, I want to thank the community for the support. Recently, 2 companies here, a foundation and a company sponsored a total of 40 children who are going to come to my gallery and paint for free to their parents. How wonderful is that?
That's
fantastic. I had my first class on Saturday.
That's fantastic. And I love that you are what you also do. You share your love and passion and talent to inspire children, seniors, others, me who's in between those two populations or demographics. It's such an inspiration. And I think why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about how you have a piece at the Bill Clinton Library Center?
Yeah, while I was working in corporate American experience, I would say social challenges, inequalities, etc. I started creating, and I created a piece titled "The Melting Pot versus Society," same one about equality, and another one titled "Diversity." And I did a piece, "Vision of Racial Harmony," and President Clinton had set up a commission in '97 to address racial issues. And I sent him a card of it, and he responded, and that's how that relationship came about. And I was able to donate 2 of the lithographs, and I ended up going to the opening of the library.
In Little Rock.
Little Rock, yes, I was in Little Rock.
That's amazing. That's so fantastic. I love that story. I love that you're a part of that. And I love how your art has evolved and, from being the tropical, themes to dealing with social themes. Social issues. And I think, reading about artists and as they age, it's not even just the themes or topics of what they're painting changes, but they also change styles. I was reading that Henry Matisse, I think he was in his 80s, he could no longer paint, so he started doing cutouts. And so, we keep evolving, as people. It doesn't end, and the creative mind doesn't stop.
And a lot of people know me for my folk people. Mm-hmm. And when they see an abstract, they said, "You created that?" Of course I did. Behind me is that yoga piece. That's abstract. I create around themes and styles. So my style is overall folk, but my themes branch out into some abstract forms too.
Sure. What is your favorite? What is style? What do you love to paint? Is there any specific?
I love nature.
Nature still.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a piece I painted called Morning Glory. And I did that a year ago when I received an award because I wanted to share. Again, there was that flower. The petals would open in the morning, and precisely 4:00, I would virtually stand over and watch the petals close. And we called it 4:00 and Morning Glory.
Oh, wow.
It goes back to my childhood days. I would just love to wake up and see the petals open and see them close at 4:00.
Sure. And do you find when you're painting, it takes you back to being in Jamaica at times, depending on what you're creating?
And the music. Oh, how could I would be remiss if I don't link music, the importance of music. And I encourage seniors to cope using various forms of music. When I came here and faced the pressures of inequalities, etc., I would play Bob Marley's song, "No Woman No Cry, No Woman No Cry." And look, I can't sing, but or since the pandemic, I chose the 3 Little Birds. Don't worry about a thing, for every little thing gonna be all right.
Yes.
So music and art are inseparable to me. They're powerful tools.
Oh, definitely. Music is such an inspiration to me. I grew up doing musical theater, and so it's always been such a part of my life, all styles of music. The one thing I've never been is a great artist, and I really am not a great drawer or painter or anything.
I want to stop you there. Everyone is an artist. Every work of art, regardless how intricate, 3 things: lines, shapes, and colors. always say to my class, if you can draw lines, add shapes, and color, you are an artist.
Okay, well, then I am an artist. I can do
You are
that.
not. We're all innately artists. And I love kindergarten. I love the younger kids because they don't worry about it not being right or accurate.
Sure.
They just go wild. I love the younger kids because they're not bashful. They will just splurge on that paper or canvas.
Uh-huh. Well, I was so excited when I mentioned earlier when I spoke to the artist at work and she mentioned, it's not about the finished product, it's about the process. And I thought to myself, well, I'm good at the process. I can, sit there and do stuff. It just doesn't always turn out.
It's about the stories. And when my art used to be criticized at one time, where are the fingers? Where are the eyes, etc.? I said, it is not about accuracy. It's about life story. Ask me what is the story behind that. And nowadays, they don't ask me about fingers and nose, etc. They say, what's the story about that one?
I love that. See, again, that's why I said you're such an inspiration. You make people realize the talent and the artist that that we are all artists, even though in my head I have to keep telling myself that, but it's so inspiring, when you say that and you share that with the people who come into your studio or gallery.
It's my pleasure to share.
That's awesome. We are about ready to wrap up. We're going to be ending soon. Is there anything that you want to share with the viewers before we wrap up the show today?
Well, I'm very big on social media. I come on in the afternoons around 3 p.m. with great stories and inspiration again. And I talk about the art of coping. And I give tips about coping with life and the stress and pandemic, etc. So I would like the viewers to tune in to Facebook Live and follow my stories. And when they have time to come and visit Lafete Gallery, which is located at 227 North Market Street in Wilmington, Delaware. And I'm also online at www.lafetegallery.com.
And they can go to your website and connect to your Facebook page and Instagram page and all your social media platforms.
It's a lot of inspiration. They can gain a lot of inspiration.
Well, I love your social media because you do put up such beautiful works and it's so inspiring. And, some of the days when you're working on a project and you're getting a little frustrated, getting tired, and I pop open your feed and I see one of your paintings and it just inspires me to keep going, which is so fantastic.
But thanks for that inspiration. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, thank you for being here today. This was so much fun getting to speak with you about your work and the arts and the impact the arts have on seniors. I also want to thank all the viewers today for watching, and we'll be back with another great topic around senior living. Have a great day.
Thank you.